It's another long overdue job to do on the Defender today, is to get mess and seal the sunroof so we don't get wet inside anymore. There's no headlining in because I'd left the headlining out. We have to do the sunroof first, so we'll get on and do it. It's not too much to take out. Just the surround pops down with the little plastic clips. I've got a tool for doing that, which definitely helped. Somebody's carpeted the roof in the past, so I was leaving the carpet there as a bit more insulation, because we actually sleep in the back of it occasionally, so it's nice to have it as insulated as possible. Once you've got the plastic cover off, that exposes like a metal ring that goes all the way around on the inside and clamps the sunroof down, so it exposes the screws that you have to just take these screws out so you can take the metal collar off. Pull that straight off. It was a little bit glued, but nothing too drastic there, unlike the actual sunroof, which was stuck down very, very well. Took quite a bit of effort to push it out. I'm not sure if it was already a little bit bent or whether the roof bent a bit as it came out. Now I opened the sunroof just to take the load off it a little bit. You can see there's glue everywhere. And this is just, once it's out of the way, cleaning the glue off. If you're looking at the left hand side, you can see the roof's a little bit twisted there. I just trimmed it off and then T-cut it and then wiped it off with a bit of brake cleaner to make it clean. I did hammer this corner straight, as you'll see in a minute as well. So it would just help it to seal. Roof's quite flexible when you've got no sunroof. Be careful not to lean on it too hard. And didn't get all the sealant off, but I just made sure it was smooth so that the new sealant had something nice to go on to. Just get out a little bit there. Once done that, we've got to just clean the actual sunroof up itself. As I say, it's been glued on both the outside and the inside, so there's a fair bit of silicone type stuff around it generally. The seal looked in good condition, but somebody glued the window in as well, so I decided to strip all the glue out and just try again with just the seal for the window, and then re-glue it into the car, the frame that is. So that was the same to clean up with just with this Stanley knife with a safe edge, a blade with a safe edge. Just go around and scrape all flat against the glass, and then wipe that down. That was a bit of tea cut as well, I think. And we're onto the frame, which is the same process, and then afterwards there was lots of little bits stuck in the rubber, so I used a brass wire brush and just ran it around lightly just to clean out all the bits in the grooves and stuff, so it had a chance of sealing. This is the sealant, it's a Sikaflex sealant used on caravans and things like that, so I thought if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for this. I decided at this point that I would put quite a lot of sealant on to compensate for the roof being a bit deformed. So I did a bead round the actual sunroof and a small bead round the aperture as well. And wipe the excess off using brake cleaner again as a solvent for moving it. So it looks like, and when it's started, because it's still wet, you can wipe it all away. So just need plenty of paper. And put the aluminium piece back on now, just to pull it down nicely and seal. I've still got the window out at this point, so it's just easier to operate without the glass in the way. I thought then I'd put it back in because it would hold its shape better. Pop all the screws back in, pull it up nice and tight. And all the sealant is squeezed out as it's pulled up, so it's just a case of wiping it all off and keeping plenty of brake cleaner on the paper, so it doesn't just become a right mess. It actually wipes it away quite nicely. Now we've got a roof lining to go in, which I'd found at Auto Jumble, but of course I'd only managed to find a roof lining for money that had no hole in it for the sunroof. So I trial fitted the head lining in and just drew round the hole from above so that I knew where to cut out, and you'll see I fit it in with a couple of clips just to hold it in place while I mark it out and do it. But it was the only headlining I could find at reasonable money. It was typically not quite the right one. Here I'm just marking round. I managed to get the camera not quite in the right place, but you get the idea. I just got a heavy duty pen, felt pen, and just marked round on it so I knew where to cut. Then pop the headlining out again and cut round it. As I'd drawn round the actual hole in the sunroof, I'd add a measurement out to where the roof lining, where the trim fits. So I just had to mark round where I'd drawn and extend the hole out a little bit, so there was room for the trim to clip round and hold it in, which is what I'm doing there. And then I cut it out. It's only the card we're cutting through, but it was just easier to cut through with a grinder and go through the actual vinyl as well with it. Cut the whole lot quite nicely. As you can see, the roof liner's got some holes in for speakers, which I'm going to have to find some speakers or trim it or something in the future to tidy it up. But just having a roof lining in is enough of a novelty at the moment. It's been out for a fair old while. Lining it up with the door aperture and the light, where the light has to come through, and put a couple of clips in just to hold it, and then sort out the wiring loom for the light and pop that through and leave that hanging there to tidy up in a bit. And some little alarm bits I've got as well, because there's an alarm on the car, so I had to just pop those through on the pillars. And put the plastic trim back up just to hold it, which held it in place quite well. So, and then on it's not too bad. It's just put it back together really, what we took apart. Some visors back in, put the glass back in because I'd taken it out to mark round earlier, so I have to put that back in. Not too far away at this point. I'd say this is not the only way of doing it. It's maybe not even the best way, but it seems to have worked for me, because subsequently rained quite heavily and it's no longer wet inside. So this is it, finished now. It's a reasonably satisfactory job.